All right, welcome back. So now let's continue by going through the setup of Shopify by adding our first product to our sample web store. So let's go ahead and click Add Product. By the way, of course, products can include physical items or digital items or services. So let's click Add Product. So now, as you can see in the top left, we were taken to products and then the all products subtab. This is normal and will happen every time you add a new product in Shopify manually. So now look at what we have here. Now we have the add product window and we are told, the title, description, and product status, and all of these terminologies that we will get to in this lecture. So let's start off with the title, obviously. A title will be the title of your product. So, whatever you're selling, is it a t-shirt? Is it a dress? Is it, a gift card? Whatever it is it a digital good? This is where the title of that product will be. So here will be, let's, for the sake of this course, type in something sample. So John's t-shirt. Okay, so John's t-shirt. This is the name of my sample product. I'm going to sell a t-shirt. Now underneath that is the description box in which I can add a description that makes this item, more informative to people that are interested in buying it, or also more appealing. Your descriptions should definitely include, the features of the product, what customers can expect. If you're talking about clothing, then the sizes, that's very important, and the make and the material of the item as well. Your descriptions should be informative but not overly long, but also not like, only one sentence long either. They should be in the middle. Now you may be wondering about all these buttons at the top here. They look like buttons that you would find in Microsoft Word or something like that. These are, of course, buttons that let you change the size, the font style, and even the color of the description, and even allow you to add images and videos to your description. So that's just an important thing. And also, of course, tables for, sizes and all of that. So, of course, that is something that you can explore on your own time, right? Whether you want to add a bulleted list of the features that your item has or product has, or a numbered list, or maybe you want an indentation if it's going to be like a lengthy description, right? Or maybe you want to even add code, or you want to change the alignment, or maybe even the color, right, of the text. You can definitely do that as well, or add some tables and so forth. But really, or clear formatting, or just leave it as basic text. But really, for the sake of our, sample item, we're just going to leave a succinct, description of this shirt. So I'll just say, this is a basic white t-shirt made out of cotton. And then we'll just say one size fits all, right? Just to keep it simple. So this is our description, not a very good one, but for the sake of this, it's enough, right? And so then let's move on to where it says product status at the top, right? So as you can see right now, it's a draft. That means that this product is only a draft and therefore not live on our store. In order for it to become live in our store, we have to click here and change it to active. And then we would have to click the save button. But we're not going to do that yet, only because we are not ready. Then underneath that, we have sales channel and apps. So we have online store checked. We always want to make sure that that's checked because that is our Shopify store. We can also schedule availability if we want to make this item available at a future date. Let's say you have, a Halloween or Christmas collection that you want to appear on your site at a certain date. You can definitely change that here. Okay, and so let's scroll a little bit down. So on the right side, we have the organization vendor. So this is basically more so what we're going to get into later on when we're talking about, print on demand and apps. Don't worry about that. We'll talk about that later on. Or let's say you have your own, brand, right, of clothing, or in general, your own business brand. You can type in the name here, or let's say you work with, a production company or someone that prints your items for you, right? They would be considered, who the vendor is. Or maybe let's say you work with a partner company. They would be the vendor of your product and you're the one responsible for selling it, right? You can type that here if you'd like. This is just something for you and to make the items more organized and to keep track of what you're selling, basically. And then underneath that, we have product type. So again, this is something that's helpful for, organizing, keeping things neat and in order. Depending on what it is you're selling, you can have a type of category for it. So since I said that I'm going to sell a t-shirt, I would be looking for apparel and accessories. So let's go ahead and click that and then look for clothing and then t-shirt if we can possibly find it. Yes, shirts and tops. So this would be under shirts and tops because this is a t-shirt that I'm selling. So that has been added. So now this makes the item more findable for people that are trying to find t-shirts. And then collections. This is something that we'll talk about more in depth later, but what is a collection in Shopify? Well, again, let's talk about that example that I mentioned earlier. Let's say you're trying to have a Christmas or Halloween collection, and this is something that's seasonal, obviously, right? So a collection would be a subset of items that fall under that either Halloween or Christmas in your store and are specifically or exclusively available during those dates or not, right? It can also be, a plus size collection, whatever collection that's available year round. But you want to have these items in their own section of a store because it makes it easier to find for that group or niche of people. So just be aware that that is what a collection is. And then tags, this is something more so for you, but it's also helpful for general organization skills. Let's say you want to have your items, be separated by adjectives or, you know, uh, anything in general that is an attribute to it. So let's say this shirt would be, I said that it was made out of cotton, so I would include cotton. And then it was also a plain white t-shirt. Let me add, white. And then one last one, let's say t-shirt, right? This is just so you can filter out the items whenever you're looking for a tag and so forth. This is something that I would recommend also adding just in case you are a type of person that likes to have your store really organized and neat. Okay, and so then online store theme template. So here we have default product. You always want to leave this as default product. Why? Well, because this is what the Shopify theme, which we're going to get into later, has been coded to show. You typically want to have your pages left alone when it comes to your theme template, when it comes to your product pages, because Shopify already did all this coding work for you. So just don't mess around with this too much, unless of course you know what you're doing. But since we're just beginning with Shopify, just leave this always as default product. So now let's scroll up a little bit and go to media. So media, as you can probably assume, this is where you add the images or the pictures for your product, right? So let's say, you have a nice picture of a model wearing your product or something among the like. You definitely want to have at least one picture for every item on your store, because when customers are scrolling through your store, thumbnails are going to be required. And where are thumbnails taken from? Well, of course, from your media, from where you uploaded pictures of your product. So this is very important to have. Definitely, for sure, you should definitely have, media added. And of course, this can include, pictures or animated GIFs, though I don't recommend that. You want to keep your images crisp, but you also don't want to make them too big in size, because then they're going to take a long time to load, and that's going to make the customer likely not see the item in time or lose patience and move on. That's definitely a big no-no. So you want to have good crisp images, typically square images, by the way. All right, so of course we can add files from our computer, or we can add media files from a URL. We can embed video from YouTube or add an image from a website. But let's go ahead and add an image from our computer. So let's go ahead and do that. Drag and drop, we can do that. It's a great feature on Shopify. And let's just wait for that to happen. And there we go. There's our basic white shirt that we will be selling. Now let's talk about price. So I'm just going to mark this as a, simple basic price, $19.99. Now you may be wondering though, what does compare at price mean? Compare at price is an effective tool. Maybe you've stepped in a store before and you've seen how you have like, a markdown price. It used to be $59.99 and now it's $49.99. The $59.99 would be the compare at price. And of course, it's a higher price that now has a reduced price. And it's very good for motivating people to buy. So customers can be like, oh, wow, it's been marked down. This is great for, trying to boost sales and motivate people to shop and buy, of course. Let's leave this as blank for now. Now, cost per item. So this is if you're working, with a third-party vendor that charges you, for every order that you get. It's called print on demand. They print the item for you at your request every time a customer buys from your store. And you can type how much the cost is for them to print it and ship it out to the customer. And so then let's say it costs them $9.99 with shipping included. So I'll type here $9.99. That means that then I would only profit $10 from this sale as opposed to 20 because my print on demand or third party, vendor is charging $10 to go out and print this item and ship it to my customer. That means that I only get a profit margin of 50%. So I only get half of the cut of the sale. So that's basically what this is. And charge tax on this product, you typically want to keep it as selected because, collecting taxes is important for your business to be up to date with everything on that end. And of course, it varies state by state and country by country. Anyway, so let's just leave that as is and let's keep scrolling down. So inventory, this is more so technical stuff. So if your business already has stock keeping units or barcodes for your products, you definitely can fill this out to keep everything in track. Let's say your business also keeps sales in track by these codes and numbers, then you definitely want to make sure you have these two filled out or one of these filled out. But again, if you are just starting out, you don't need to worry about this. And then continue selling when out of stock. So when Shopify notices that your items are out of stock, it won't let you, or the customer rather, purchase anymore. It'll show as out of stock, right? So the button will be grayed out and the customer can't check out. But if you want to still attract sales or let people buy this product, even if it is out of stock, make sure you check continue selling when out of stock. So that way, you can continue getting purchases even though this item is really out of stock. But you want to be careful with this, right? Because if you don't have the product that's out of stock immediately available or quickly replaced to be in stock, then it's going to be difficult and your customers will not receive the item in a timely fashion. So just be aware of that. So then we reach quantity. How many of these shirts are available? Well, this is where you would check, your inventory and check how many of the item that you have. If you're working with a third party vendor or a print on demand, manufacturing or printing / shipping company, then, you don't have to worry about this because they typically have thousands and thousands of, the items at hand. But for the sake of our small sample business, we'll just say we have 10 shirts available. So then shipping. Check, this is a physical product. What does physical product mean? Physical product means obviously a product that's tangible, a product that is able for a person to hold, to wear, and so forth. It is not a digital product like a music download or a video download would be. This is an actual physical, touchable, wearable item. So therefore, this is a physical product. And so then we can calculate how much shipping would be given to the customer to pay depending on how much this shirt weighs or how much it would, weigh when it comes to shipping. We can change pounds to ounces, kilograms, and grams, and so forth, depending on what you prefer, scale, and the weight. But let's just keep it as, since this is a shirt, this is going to be, really light. So let's just say 0.1 pounds. Okay, and so this is just for, calculating shipping at checkout and so forth. Okay, and so now we have customs. This is just again for international countries, so they know where this item is coming from, the country of origin. And so again, depending on what country your business is located in, is the country you want to have selected. So I am in the United States, so I will go ahead and select the United States. There we go. Okay, and then harmonized system code. Again, you don't have to worry about this. This is just technical code stuff. If you already have a business, then that's dealing with HS codes, then you will of course fill this out. All right, and so now we have variants. So what is a variant? A variant is basically another version of a product. So this can include, a different color or a different size. Now, variants wouldn't really apply to this product because I did say that it is a one size fits all basic white t-shirt. But for the sake of just practicing, let's click check. This product has multiple options. And so as we can see here, we have size, color, material, style, and so forth. So if your product has a variety of these, you would make sure to add them. For example, let's say for size, even though this is one size fits all, I can add medium, and then I can add another option. I can add large, and then I can add extra large, hit enter, and then it adds it, right? So this would be an example of how to add variants to a product. For the sake of just, keeping this as is, let's just leave it alone. And then we can even have different prices for each variant, right? So maybe the larger the size, the more I will charge. Sometimes some businesses do this due to, thread count, whatever the case may be. Well, again, I have the option of changing that here. And make sure you want to have your quantities set for all of these so that way they are purchasable. Okay, so that is adding variants to products. And then lastly, down here we have search engine listing preview. So again, edit websites SEO. Let's talk about this. This is what your listing will look like on Google search results or Bing or Yahoo or any other search engine that picks up your website and your product page when a customer is searching for keywords that were similar to the name of your product. So let's say someone searched for John's t-shirt or John's basic white t-shirt. Theoretically this would appear on a search engine like this. But let's say you're not satisfied with this and this is a bit too broad, or this is maybe perhaps too, bland for you. You are definitely able to edit the SEO, which is the search engine optimization, to make it more customized and findable. So what I would do is I would add more keywords, more descriptive things to make it easier to find. Because again, you're going to be competing with a variety of businesses on Shopify that will probably sell similar products or sell products in the same categories, right? Clothing and so forth, or whatever it may be. So you want to make sure that this is really filled out. You have up to 320 characters. So you have, a decent amount of, wiggle room to add a lot of descriptive keywords and so forth. Same thing for the title of your product. Maybe you want to add your business name afterwards, John's Business, right? So that way you have the product title and then the business name, so you can see that the customer can see rather that they're associated with each other. And so if they recognize your business name, they will then be like, oh, this is a product from there, let me click on it, right? You could even change the URL, right? So if John's t-shirt is a bit too plain, you can even add some more descriptive URL keywords like John's plain white t-shirt. And then of course that will also appear in the search engine. So this is basically to bump up and improve your ranking on search engines like Google, Bing, and Yahoo and so forth. So you're easily found, or at least more easily found and more quickly found. And so therefore you can get more traffic and then potentially, hopefully, more sales. Okay, so then let's scroll up. So we've pretty much covered every aspect of the product page in Shopify. Every time you create a brand new product or want to create a new product manually, you will be given this page in Shopify, and then you'll be able to type in again the description, the title, add images to your product, and so forth. So therefore, a crucial point in this lecture is to always click save from the top right, the green button, because if you don't do this, you'll lose all of the changes that we've made right now. So let's go ahead and click save. And there we go. We've officially added our first product.